Do you want your house to stay clean without getting exhausted? At this age, keeping a tidy home can feel nearly impossible. You've tried deep cleaning over the weekend only to spend the next 3 days with a sore back. You've gathered trash vacuumed and cleaned the kitchen all in one morning only to see things return to chaos by the afternoon. You're not lazy. You're just tired. Your body isn't what it used to be. And if you've ever looked around your home and thought, how can I keep this in order without wearing myself out, you're not alone. Marilyn Foster, 72, a retired nurse from the outskirts of Tennessee, has been living alone in her small house for over 30 years since her husband passed. No cleaning service, no help from her children. And strangely enough, her home is always neat, clean and bright. Her daughter visits once a month and always asks in surprise, "Mum, how is your house always this tidy?" Marilyn doesn't clean the old-fashioned way. She doesn't wait until the weekend to do it all. She doesn't spend an hour wiping every stair. She simply did one thing: she changed the way she thought. She said cleaning isn't a race, it's an adjustment. She didn't push harder, she cut things down. And everything began with 6 tiny habits. Very small, but consistent, gentle, and smart. You don't have to do them all at once. But if you feel like your home is slowly slipping out of control, if you're just tired from having to tidy up over and over again, then you deserve to know what Marilyn did. And the very first thing she did each morning was not make coffee. It was to set a timer, just 5 minutes, but enough to make the rest of the day feel lighter. If you see yourself in this story, hit subscribe, because the next habits are even easier and more effective than you think. Tip No. 1, 5 minutes each morning. Touch once put away. Marilyn used to start her day feeling overwhelmed. She'd walk into the kitchen and see dishes from the night before. Notes scattered on the table, unopened mail mixed with flyers. And just to make 1 cup of coffee, she had to move a dozen things out of the way. The exhaustion didn't come from the tasks, it came from waking up in chaos. Until she started doing one small thing. Each morning before her coffee, she set a timer for exactly 5 minutes. No more, no less. In those 5 minutes, she'd walk around the kitchen and living room using one rule called touch once. That means if something is out of place and it takes less than 10 seconds to put away, do it now. If it takes longer, she'd drop it into a small basket to deal with after breakfast. No piling things up, no stacking them on tables, no creating a later spot, just one touch, then done. Because of that, there was no build-up. No waking up to old mail, last week's magazines, unpaid bills, or pens under the chair. And Marilyn said, "I'm not trying to clean everything. I'm just trying not to let it pile up." That little habit in just 5 minutes completely changed the tone of her morning. She no longer needed 30 minutes to tidy up the kitchen before cooking. She didn't feel like her day started in a mess. Most importantly, she began her day with a sense of control. Each item she returned to its place was a quiet reminder that she was still capable of managing her space. She also noticed something else. In the morning, her mind was clearer, her energy higher, and her decisions sharper. That's why cleaning in the early morning turned out to be less tiring than doing it later in the day. You can try it tomorrow. Set a 5-minute timer. Touch each item once. Put it away or toss it. Don't hesitate. Don't save it for later. You'll notice something strange. Just 5 minutes and you've cleared the clutter that's been silently building for days. And you'll feel lighter as you start the day with a clean kitchen, a clear table, and a mind no longer weighed down by unfinished tasks. But the morning is only the beginning. Marilyn had one more habit she called her most precious one. It's something she always did in the evening, not to tidy, but to feel grateful. Tip number 2 each evening. Walk through your home with gratitude. When Marilyn was still working, evenings were a blur of folding laundry, replying to messages, turning on the TV and dozing off on the couch. But after retiring and living alone, she realized something nights shouldn't just be what's left of a tired day. They could be a quiet ritual to end things gently. And the simplest thing she started doing was taking a slow walk through her home, not to clean heavily, but to put a few things back where they belong, while quietly appreciating what she still has. Each evening around 7, Marilyn would pick up a small basket and walk from the living room to the kitchen, then stop by the bedroom. She didn't grab everything out of place. Just a few items: her reading glasses left on a chair, a sticky note still stuck to the fridge, and a pair of slippers left off track by the door. And for each item she touched, she paired it with one positive thought. In the living room, as she folded a thin blanket, she thought, "I'm glad I'm still strong enough to read every afternoon." In the kitchen, as she wiped the counter, she smiled, grateful for another meal she made herself. In the bedroom, as she straightened a photo frame, she whispered thanks to the loved ones still in her life. This small habit not only kept the house tidy, but it lightened her heart. Instead of ending the day with a sigh over the mess, she ended it with a sense of calm and control. She never went to bed feeling like she did nothing today. Just walking through her home and putting a few things back helped her feel like she had done something gentle for herself. The surprising part was that this slow walking turned into a light form of movement, easing her joints and relieving back tension. It became a kind of nameless meditation. And after a few weeks, Marilyn noticed something. She slept better. Her mind raced less. She no longer woke up feeling like she was stepping into battle. You can try this tonight. Don't clean the whole house. Just walk through. Return a few things to their place. And instead of grumbling over things being out of place, think this: I'm lucky to still live in a space of my own. When you look at your home with appreciation, you'll naturally want to care for it more. And from that state of mind, keeping your space in order stops feeling like a burden and becomes a form of self-care. But while evening tidying helped create peace, there was still one type of clutter that Marilyn feared most: paper. Mail bills, flyers, tiny pieces that caused big stress, until she found a way to deal with them with just one touch. Tip number 3, touch. Paper, once, then make it disappear. Nothing made Marilyn feel more overwhelmed than paper mail bills, discount flyers, and medical info. They quietly piled up on her dining table, jammed her drawers, scattered by the couch. And at some point, she couldn't tell what to keep and what to toss. Once she spent 3 hours looking for a doctor's appointment slip buried in old papers from the month before. After that, Marilyn decided something had to change. Not a big one-time cleanup, only to let it all pile up again, but stopping the build-up before it starts. Her method was simple: touch each paper only once. Every time she brought in the mail, she stood next to the trash bin and a wooden tray. Everything was handled right there. No saving it for tomorrow, no building piles. Just 4 categories: action, keep, read later, and toss. Bank letters and bills went straight into the action tray, and she'd write the due date on the envelope with a marker. Medical papers, prescriptions, and appointments went into labeled folders: medical, finance, and personal. No complicated filing system, just the essentials. Magazines and flyers she wanted to read went into a basket by her reading chair. At the end of the week, if the basket was full, she'd toss the old ones and only keep the newest issue. The rest gone without regret. Because of this, her dining table was no longer buried in paper. Her kitchen drawers stopped jamming from a pile of forgotten mail. Marilyn realized that paper isn't scary if you don't let it collect. What drains you isn't the few important things, It's the mountain of unimportant ones you never let go of. The touch once rule saved her hours each week. No more lost bills, no more missed appointments. And most of all, her home felt lighter in a visible way. No more tiny papers under the couch. No more mental weight of, "I'll handle that later." And once she made this habit part of her day, Marilyn found herself picking up an old joy she hadn't touched in years' handwriting. She reclaimed a corner of her table to jot down kind thoughts each day. A clean page, and a morning that no longer started in clutter. But paper wasn't the only source of mess. The kitchen sink had been Marilyn's biggest frustration for years. Until she made one small change, she used just one set of dishes. Tip number 4. Use just one set of dishes per day. And wash right after using. Marilyn used to leave her dishes to pile up after each meal, washing them all at once by the end of the day. But as she got older, standing too long at the sink started to hurt her back. Some days, just looking at the dishes in the sink made her lose her appetite. She began simplifying her meals just to avoid the cleanup, and eventually started ordering takeout more often, not out of craving but out of dread, until one day she tried something different. She didn't buy new tools. She didn't ask for help. She simply chose one plate, one cup, one set of silverware, and called it her everyday set. Only she used it. And after every meal, she washed it immediately. To make that possible, she also changed the way she cooked. Any pot she used got washed right after. Pans were soaked in hot water as soon as they cooled. Before she even started cooking, she would fill the sink with soapy water, so anything she used could be rinsed and cleaned right away. She used parchment paper to line baking trays. She chose mixing bowls that also worked for eating, so she didn't need to dirty extra dishes. Everything was planned to reduce the number of things to wash, but never to reduce the quality of her meals. The results were clear. After each meal, her sink was almost empty. No more end-of-day pile-ups. It only took 1 or 2 minutes. No long standing, no sore feet, no aching back. And the surprising part was, Marilyn began enjoying cooking again. The kitchen stayed clean. Cooking no longer felt like stepping onto a battlefield. And when unexpected guests dropped by, she never had to rush to hide pots and pans. Everything was already in place. That sense of control made Marilyn feel younger. She once said, "I don't need a big kitchen. I just need one I don't dread walking into." This habit might sound simple, but it changed so much her eating habits, her health, and even her mood. You don't have to change your cooking. You just have to change how you handle things after the meal. And if you've ever felt drained by dishes, maybe it's time you pick a personal set. A clean little corner just enough to make you want to cook something good for yourself. But the kitchen isn't the only place where clutter sneaks up. There's one space that seems tidy, but quietly fills with random items every single day. The living room. That's where Marilyn used one trick. Pick up just 10 things at a time. Tip number 5. Pick up exactly 10 items each time twice a day. There was a time when Marilyn felt like her living room was living a separate life. Each morning she'd find her glasses on the coffee table, an open magazine on the sofa, a scarf draped over a chair, one sock by the window, and the TV remote never where it should be. None of these things were messy enough to call a real mess, but together they made her head feel heavy. It didn't seem worth tidying, yet not tidying made it all feel off. Then one day, while watching a video about home organization, she learned a surprisingly simple tip. Whenever you walk through a room, pick up exactly 10 things that are out of place. No more, no less, 10. She started trying it around noon after making tea. She'd walk around and adjust 10 things. Then again in the evening before turning off the living room lights, she'd pick up another 10. Sometimes it was a glass, a book, a slipper. Sometimes just a pen on the rug. Nothing big. But every time she picked up 10 things, the room felt a little refreshed. Marilyn didn't call it cleaning. She called it making peace with the house, because when you return things to their place, you also return to yourself a sense of control. She noticed something special 10 was just enough to make a difference, but not so much that it felt like work. It felt like a light little game. No pressure, no fatigue. Just you telling yourself, I'll fix these 10 things, then I'm done. That mindset made her feel more cheerful and more consistent. She no longer waited until the weekend to face a mountain of mess. Her living room stayed tidy, not because it never got cluttered, but because no item stayed out of place for too long. Marilyn said, if you pick up 10 things twice a day, that's 140 items a week, and you never feel like you're cleaning. And the strange thing is, the more she did it, the more she enjoyed it. Sometimes picking up an old book made her want to reread it. Sometimes picking up a photo made her smile at a memory. Small actions, but each one helped her reconnect with what she had. And because of that, her home stopped being a place where things piled up and started being a space where she lived. But daily surface tidying is one thing. Doing a deeper clean in just one area once a week, that's something else. And it's the secret that made Marilyn feel like her home was not just clean, but more hers than ever. Thanks to a Sunday ritual that took exactly 15 minutes. Tip number 6. The Sunday ritual 15 minutes to declutter. One spot. Marilyn used to spend her entire Sunday cleaning. From morning till noon, it was the kitchen. Afternoon, the living room. Evening, she'd try to wipe the fridge or refold her closet. But as she got older, she found herself drained just thinking about Sunday. The idea of cleaning the whole house in one day made her tired by Saturday. Her weekend wasn't restful, it felt like an obstacle course. So she changed her approach. Instead of tackling everything at once, she picked just one task. One corner, one time frame. No stretching it out, no expanding the task, no overdoing it. She called it her 15-minute Sunday ritual. Each week she made a list of places she wanted to deep clean: a bedside drawer, the spice rack, the battery drawer, an old purse, the towel shelf in the bathroom. On Sunday, she picked one, set a timer for exactly 15 minutes and worked only during that time. No jumping to another spot, no adding new tasks, just that one job. For example, if it was the medicine drawer, she'd take everything out, wipe it clean, toss expired items, keep the essentials and label them clearly. When the timer rang, she stopped, even if it wasn't perfect. No need to continue. Marilyn said cleaning is like gardening. You pull weeds from one patch each week, and before long, the whole garden is clear. What surprised her most was how light she felt after each 15-minute session. It wasn't just about tidiness, it was about peace of mind. Completing one small thing reminded her, I can still organize. I can still take care of my space. She even kept a little notebook to track what she cleaned, and sometimes took before and after photos, not to show off, but to remind herself that change doesn't need to be big, only consistent. You can start this Sunday. Pick one cluttered spot, or the one you keep avoiding. Set a 15-minute timer. Start, not more, not less. Just one small job finished. And you'll see you don't need to clean the whole house to feel lighter. One clean drawer is enough to brighten your heart. But the most important part of all these 6 habits isn't about the house. It's about how you feel when living in a space that's gently in order, day by day, little by little, by your own hands. After applying a tidy home, a light heart, no more fear of unexpected guests. Marilyn didn't change overnight. She didn't become a perfectly tidy person in a single weekend. But after 1 week, she felt something shift. After 3 weeks, she noticed her home had a kind of light she hadn't seen before. After 2 months, she realized she was sleeping better, forgetting less and no longer panicked at the sound of the doorbell. Because the house was clean, not spotless, but ready enough. Ready to welcome someone in, ready for a cup of tea. No need to apologize for the mess. She no longer avoided the kitchen because of piled-up dishes. Dinner no longer wore her out. Everything had fallen into an easy rhythm. Each item had a place. Each day had a few minutes for care. And most importantly, nothing exhausted her anymore. She said, "I feel like I've regained a part of life. I thought I had lost a part I believed only belonged to youth." The transformation wasn't in how much stuff she threw out. It was in how her mind felt lighter. No more mental weight of unfinished chores. No more looking around and feeling like life was slipping out of control. Now, when she walked into her living room, she felt like the owner. When she opened a drawer, she knew it had been cared for. And when her daughter called to say she'd dropped by, she didn't need to clean. She just smiled and put the kettle on. That feeling, calm, clear, unashamed, was something Marilyn never thought she'd feel again. And the best part was, it didn't come from hiring help. It didn't come from anyone doing it for her. It came from one choice: to live differently. Lighter, simpler, in her way. If you're wondering, can I do this? Marilyn's answer is, I didn't do it all. I just started, and then I kept going. Now, if you've tried even one of these 6 habits, what change have you felt most clearly in your home? Leave a comment with the number 1 if you've already started, or a 0 if you haven't yet, but you want to begin tomorrow. And if you don't know where to start, there's a small place that always makes a perfect beginning: the chair you're sitting in right now. Marilyn once believed that a clean home required sacrifice. That weekend had to be spent scrubbing. That she had to wear herself out to earn a few tidy hours. But now she knows clean doesn't come from effort. It comes from lifestyle. None of the small habits she kept made her tired. None took too much time. But when done consistently, gently, wisely, they turned her home into a place that was easy to live in. And they turned her into a woman no longer burdened by her own house. When you live wisely, you don't have to clean too much, because things already stay in place. No need to remember everything. No need to wait until chaos to take action. No need to worry about unexpected visitors. Just keep a few principles. Do a few small things, each day just a little. And soon you'll see your home isn't just cleaner, it's calmer, softer, and like Marilyn, you'll start feeling lighter every time you walk through your door. If you're still unsure where to begin, just pick the easiest one. Maybe it's setting a 5-minute timer each morning. Or walking through your home each evening. Or simply washing the one plate you just used. Just one thing, done regularly. And after 1 week, you'll see you don't need to do big things. You just need to stop ignoring the small ones. If this story has given you a gentle idea, a warm encouragement, or simply one reason to start again, don't keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe, so each week you can receive something new. To live wisely, to live lightly, and to live for you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.